So today we're going to be talking about the rest of the process tools. Last week we began with discussing work plans and checklists in this process tool list, and today we're going to go through the rest of the process tools and discuss those. So just as a reminder, this is the process tools page that I'm on right now, and the way you get to the process tools page is by selecting a process from your for functions list. So you've entered a process, you select it, and then it's going to take you right to the process tools page where you document the process. Over here to the left are all of the templates or tools that we have available to document with. Just a quick recap here, work plans is the one you see right here at the top. A work plan is just simply a step-by-step set of tasks or instructions on how to do that work. In the end, most of your processes will have a work plan in them, at least one. They may or may not have these other tools. It just depends on kind of what the needs of the process are. But most of the time, I mean, I think there's probably some exceptions to everything, but I'd say 95% of the time you're going to always have a work plan, because that is like the step-by-step set of instructions or tasks that are done to complete that work. Next tool down here is called a checklist. And the checklist template is, you want to use this template when you need some kind of quality control for the process. So you need some evidence that the process has been done. Checklists can be completed through our control panels here on the home screen, and I'll show you another example of that when we get to the end. But just again as a reminder, when you build these checklists in TouchStone, they are electronic and they can all be used inside of TouchStone. So a sample or a copy can get brought up and it can be filled out and date and time stamped and saved back to TouchStone. So if the process, after you've documented the work plan, if you say to yourself, this is really something that I need some evidence that people are actually following the tasks or the steps or that work is actually getting done, then you can go and with this toolbar item right here, you can convert a work plan into a checklist, or you can go and build a work plan that is, not connected necessarily with the work plan, but is kind of a verification of tasks or steps that have been done. The next tool down here is called a script, and you want to use the scripting tool when there's a conversation or there's a verbal interaction in the process. So to build a script, it's the same as these other tools, same as the work plans and the checklist, all the tools for that matter. It's just clicking the text here, which brings you up a prompt asking for what the name of your script is. So name it. You can put the word script at the end of it if you like that. You don't necessarily have to put the word script like referral script. You don't have to, because it's obvious it's a script by the form of the template and also the fact that it's underneath the script header right here. But if you like that, you can put the name of the word script at the end. And then in the objective, put the reasons why you use the script, the why of it. Why is it here? What is it here to do? The objectives can really help you construct this, and it helps, or define it, and it helps your employees to know when and why they are using this tool, the script in this example. Then I just go here and hit Create Script. So now I've got a fourth script down here at the bottom, you'll see, and this is what the blank template looks like. The script has two sections to it. There's the prompt and the script. So the prompt is the explanation of what's happening or the question being asked, and then the script are the actual words. So to add a prompt and a script, you just hit Add Script Item, and then you click open the prompt side, and you'll type in the prompt. So this could be a greeting, maybe that someone would say. It could be a question that's being asked. So you're describing the situation where the person would then say the words that you're going to type in over here. So I hit save to that, and then I go to the script side, and these are the actual words that somebody would say. So if it was a greeting, then this side would be, Hi, thank you for calling. This is so-and-so. How can I help you? Whatever the greeting is. If it's a question, that the prompt is a question, then the script would be the answer to that question. And then you save. If this is a conversation that's going back and forth, then you'd add another script item. So then this would be the next thing you say. Or it would be, the situation, the way that you're trying to guide or lead the person in the conversation. So in this prompt side, you can do like if yes or if no, or it's another question you ask. And then over here, again, what is said. So when you're building scripts, you want to think of the methods or the techniques that you use to disseminate information, basically. So if it's a conversation that has a back and forth to it, what are the best ways to guide the person you're speaking to along this conversation? Think about the best way to articulate something here on the script side. Scripts don't mean that everyone's going to run around talking like robots. They're meant to give people knowledge or information, to pass across that information so that someone else could memorize it, study it, and then it comes out in their own words. So I think sometimes scripts get a bad rap because people are thinking, well, you don't always say it that way every time, or this isn't, we don't want everyone, sounding the same way like they're robots. Well, that kind of misses the point of the script. The script, again, is to disseminate knowledge. It's to take somebody's experience, and sometimes experience that has taken them years to develop, and take that word and articulate it in a way that someone else could memorize it, understand it, and then say it. When the first person was gaining all that knowledge, it was like trial and error, listening to other people, but not really remembering everything that they said or how to say it. So it's kind of this watch this person over years or gain that knowledge through trial and error. So the scripts really empower you to be able to take all that knowledge, put it into writing, and be able to train another person with that in a very clear, specific way. So there are generally 3 types of scripts that I see. There's probably more, but these are the 3 main types. This one at the top, which is called like a stable or static script, it's like just one prompt and then one script usually. So a good example is like leaving a voicemail message. So when you're leaving a voicemail message, trying to get an appointment with someone to see if they will give referrals, what would you say when you leave that message? So the prompt is leave the message, and the script is the words that you would say. And generally, these words are said the same way every time. So a voicemail script, answering the phone script, what's the first thing that you say? Voicemail message scripts, things like that are kind of static, stable, in the same way every time. Another type of script is a conversational script. So these are common for sales processes, for service delivery, customer service, which is going to be our process of the week that I'm going to talk about here in a minute. So anytime you have to have a conversation to get information across, it could be informational building. So you might ask questions that would then lead you to the next thing that you would say. So you'll notice in this script example, the prompt is like the greeting first, because it always starts with that. The if yes. So sometimes in a greeting you ask a question. So did you receive the introduction letter? If they say yes, then this is what you say. If they say no, then this is what you say. So with these conversations, there's turning points in the conversation whereby you ask a question and then it may flip in a different direction based on what they say. And this can be handled in the script template with these if-then sentences, or if no, if yes. So in these conversational scripts, really what you're aiming for is what is the best case scenario here? So if I was trying to sell someone something, or I was trying to get an appointment, or I was trying to present a estimate to them that they would either say yes or no to in the end, what are the best techniques to be doing this? How would you say it? How would you come across? Really think about the words. In building these, you can tape record people actually doing it. We don't tape record anymore, but you can record on your phone people actually doing it, and then you can pick apart the techniques they're using and then build that into a script. A lot of times people just, after they've said something over and over a certain amount of time and they've developed these techniques of how to explain it, it's hard for them to just write it out. So having a second person sit there and write it out for them as they talk can be a good technique for getting, the script words down. So again, this is supposed to be, the best case scenario for how this conversation would go. When you're thinking about conversational scripts, there are these yeah buts that might come into your head about, well, we can't really document how it would go because it's different every time. And I've heard this, numerous times, and all the time that I've been doing process documentation, people are like, there's no way we could ever script that, there's no way we could ever replicate that because everybody does it differently and it happens differently every time based on what the customer says or does. So that could be true to a certain degree, but there's a science to this that you can, if you're willing to let go of that yeah but, there's a science to this that you can use. So here it is. Document the conversation in the best way possible, handling the variables as you can through yes, no's, and if-then situations. Focus the script on a conversation that would guide a customer from not wanting to buy from you, if this is a sales script, to wanting to buy from you in the best case scenario. Then deal with the variables with the next type of script, which is called a frequently asked questions script. So in looking at this scientifically, you've got this conversation that could happen. What derails it is a unique situation that will send the conversation off into a direction, and the salesperson's job or the customer service person's job is to pull that back on track. It doesn't always happen. Like, someone doesn't always say, that's too expensive, or no, I don't agree with that. They don't always say that, but sometimes they do, and that's what pulls the conversation into a variable. And that's what you remember when you're thinking about it, because that's what throws you. So handle that with frequently asked questions. So in this type of script, the prompt is a question or a situation that could happen. This is a question or a situation that the person you're delivering this script to, the person you're speaking with, is going to present to you. I don't give referrals. Then you list on the script side what you would say to that. So the prompts and the scripts in this type of frequently asked questions script don't go along with each other. They can be completely random things. So you want to do prompt, question, script, answer, prompt, situation that would happen, script is with a response, and just go back and forth until you've tried to cover all these variable situations, all these questions or things that might come up that may or may not happen. So how these two tools can work really great together, the conversational script with the frequently asked questions, is that you go about it with the conversation script, and then when it hits a roadblock or hits a situation you've never heard of before or doesn't always happen, which is the variable, then throw it into the frequently asked questions. I was working on a sales script with a real estate business a while ago, and they built this conversation script on, how to, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a pretty in-depth conversation script for how to present something. And it had prompts and back and forth and if-thens. And then we posed to the sales department, so this is the best case scenario for this. What are all of the variables? What are all the things that you've heard of or seen or done, or situations that happened, or questions that have been asked, and how have you dealt with them? And so they started to just put in prompts all the different questions, and then they decided as a team what are the best ways to answer these things, and then they built them into the script side. So after working on that for a couple hours, I think maybe they had 10 different prompts and scripts, which is a great start. But then they set about, over the next few weeks, this effort of adding to it. So every time somebody heard a different question or was in a different situation that wasn't a part of the process, they threw it into the frequently asked questions script. They just added it, added it, added it. And by the end of the 2 weeks, they had 10 more things. So these can evolve. And what's happening if you do that is that you're grabbing all of your intellectual property from those salespeople and you're putting it in writing, which sounds like a simple thing, but it's not. It's huge for your business. I use the word intellectual property. Well, that is your intellectual property if you're an owner or even a manager on the line now. That information is yours. You're paying these people to be here and learning from the work that your business does. And if you don't capture that intellectual property, when those people leave, all of that leaves. So with scripting, remember the two different types, a static kind of flat voicemail script or conversational script like this one. And then also remember, every time there's a conversational script, there should also be a frequently asked questions script. Sometimes you'll have a process where all you'll have is a frequently asked questions script. There isn't a conversational script. But usually when there's a conversation script, there's also a frequently asked question. So these two go together. With the scripting tool, again, this is all click to edit, just like the other tools here. The toolbar is the same. These are all drag and drops. You see me pulling them up and pulling them down so you can reorder through dragging, dropping up and down. Add new script items to the bottom here with this tool and then drag up and down to adjust the order if you need to. By the way, all of these can be reordered as well. So you'll see here on these scripts, once you've built numerous tools inside of a process, you may want to put them in a different order. Like it might make sense to have the initial call script first and then the frequently asked questions second, just in order of how they're used maybe. Next tool down is called Uploaded Files, and this tool allows you to take documents, anything that's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or a PDF document, and upload it to the process. So to upload a file, you give it a name and a purpose. Don't forget the objectives. The objectives are then defining how and why this is used. What is it here for? I hit Choose File. And now I'm browsing my computer, and I find a file I want to open. You'll see it in the little file field right here, and then you hit Create. So then TouchStone takes a copy of that Word document, that's what that was, and uploaded it to TouchStone. And you'll see it right down here, the file name. So the routine's easy. This works very similar to other kind of uploaded file situations like Dropbox or whatever else you use. File name, choose file, hit create, and then it uploads to TouchStone. There is no limit on the file size or the number of files that you can have in your TouchStone account. It's unlimited. A good reason to use the Uploaded Files tool is when you have documents that you want to keep in their original format. So you want to keep them as a Word document, as an Excel spreadsheet, as a PowerPoint, or as a PDF. And you'll know when that's the case. If you have any information that's relevant to the process that it needs to be kept in its original file format, then create it as an uploaded file. If something's a Word document, just ask yourself, does this really need to be a Word document? Could I take the text from that and put it into the form tool? So cut and paste that text into what it essentially is a blank Word document. That's what the form tool is. If it's a spreadsheet that does calculations, then you'll need to keep it in Excel because we don't have a process tool that you can use that does calculations. So Excel spreadsheets are something that's very commonly in uploaded files. PowerPoint presentation, people don't use these very much anymore, but if you have one, then upload that PowerPoint presentation. Anything that's a PDF manual, so it's a maintenance manual or a manual about a product or a service that you use, manufacturer's manuals. This becomes a great place, the uploaded files tool, to store that information, because when employees need to see it, access it, they just click on that and they can view that document right inside of the process. If you have a form that's in a Word document or in any other format, remember the custom form tool, which we're going to go over in a minute, but you can actually build an electronic form out of that, which can be more usable. So if you want to view a file, so here's a file I have right here called Introduction Letter. You just hit View File right here, and then this file just got launched inside of Reader, which is what Adobe Reader, which is what it was uploaded in, the PDF. An important thing to remember about this is this document right here is now opened as a PDF document. And if I had Adobe, I went in and made a change to this file, that change is not happening inside of TouchStone. It's happening in Adobe Reader or Adobe Professional. Same is true of a Word document or Excel document. When you view that file, it's going to open up Word or open up Excel, TouchStone will, and show you that document. So if you make a change to an uploaded file, you add information to it, you edit it or change it, you need to do a file save as, so save the document, and then re-upload it to TouchStone. So let's assume I saved this document back down to my computer. I go to this little edit pencil, and then hit Choose File, find that document, open it, and save it back to TouchStone. So I'm essentially replacing the old document with this new one that I've edited and changed. So again, when you view an uploaded file, you hit View File, it's opening it in Word or whatever format it was created in. If you make a change to it, you then need to save it and re-upload it to TouchStone, replacing the old one with the new one. If you do nothing to it, you just view it, you can close it in Word and do whatever you want, but the original file is still in TouchStone. The only way to get rid of it from TouchStone is to delete it with this little X. So because of this fact that you have to load and reload the documents, that's a good reason to kind of look at the other tools and ask yourself, could I put this in a form tool? Because when you put it into the other tools, there's no uploading and reloading. You just click on it and you view it. So just a few more thoughts about uploaded files. This is a great place to keep your master documents for the process. So this is what we call SOP chaos, where you've got documents and spreadsheets and contract forms all over the place on the network, and no one can really know which one the most current version is because there's so many save as, and then you've got tons of copies everywhere. So with that in mind, if you make a rule that in TouchStone, in the uploaded files, that's where you'll see all of your master documents, the most current version of everything that people use for processes, then people will know, your employees will know they can always go to TouchStone to see the most current version. I want to mention regarding the uploaded files, Google Docs. So a lot of people, more and more people are using Google Docs now. And and sometimes the reason that they're using them is you can share documents. So somebody may fill out a form piece and then another person fills out another piece. With Google Docs, if you're using it so you can have this shared document experience, then when you want to reference one of those documents, the best thing to do is to make a hyperlink to it. So you would go to a work plan or wherever you want to reference it, and you go to the link tool here, and then go to external link, and then type in the URL of that Google Doc. So go to the Google Doc at another window, and when you're on that document, go up here to the HTTPS address and just right-click copy, and then paste it into right here, into the link. And then when you hit insert and save, then this will take you to Google Docs. As long as you're logged into it, which most people are when you're using Gmail, you'll go right to that Google Doc. If you're using Google Docs to just store your master documents so that people can log in and access them, if you want to continue to do it that way, that's fine. Just make a hyperlink to it. If you want to use TouchStone instead, then download those master documents and upload them to TouchStone in the uploaded files section. Okay, let's talk about forms next. So we have two form tools now. This is a new one that was released a few weeks ago, and this is the original form tool. In our next release, which I think is going to be in spring, maybe before, we're going to edit the title of this form tool here to text doc. So this is going to be, just in reference to the fact that it's a text document, like a blank Word document. You'll still be able to build columns and rows and have forms like this one if you want to, or you can use the custom form tool. So to build a form, you just click the title right here, same as before. Put the name of the form in or of the document, hit create, just like we did before, and then you click right here where it says click to begin adding content. And now here's what looks like a blank Word document. So here, this is just free-flowing text now. So I can cut and paste text in here, like a letter or bullet points or paragraph of information, whatever. You could even take a PDF manual if you wanted to and highlight that whole thing and then cut it into the form or paste it into the form tool. If it's a large document with like 50 pages, it's probably better to be an uploaded file. But if it's just a few pages, you can put the text right in here. This is also a great place to put in big images. So here's the image uploader. You could take a picture of something large that you want to appear 8.5 by 11. Sometimes you're taking pictures of something visual, like a landscape, or it's a big screenshot of an entire screen. And you want it to appear really large, but you don't want to make your work plan look skewed because the task that image is in would be huge. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but if you prefer to have it kind of stand alone, then you can paste the image right in here and it will appear 8.5 by 11 or as big as the image is. You're going to also use this table building to insert columns and rows and actually, build a form like you saw on the referral contact sheet. So this works similar to, adding tables in Microsoft Word. You can highlight those tables or you can insert rows before or after. You can take existing forms and cut and paste them, into TouchStone. So this functionality all still exists inside the form tool, even though we now have this custom form tool. What I would challenge user or people to do is if you have existing forms and you have them in the existing form tool, and they could work as custom forms, so with little drop-down, I'll show you what this looks like here in a second, but with drop-downs and fill-in boxes, or it could be a web form, which makes you more efficient in the end because someone's calling up that form and they're filling it out electronically and saving it. It's all happening electronically. So look at your current forms and just ask yourself, if you tweaked it a bit, could you make it into a custom form so it could be a web tool? You can still print these just like you would another form. So if you need to have a hard copy, you can still print them after and then fill them out manually. But this custom form tool, the electronic version, is more efficient. Like it zeroes people in on specifically what needs to be in that form. It's simpler. So I'm going to save this. Just reminding everyone of these toolbar items above. I know we went over these in the last session, but I'll just quickly go through them again. This icon allows you to move a process tool. So you can take a process tool out of one process and move it into another. That's what this is about. This is the export arrow. So you're going to see that all throughout TouchStone on every process tool. Here's where you can print, export to Word, to a PDF or email. This is the archive feature. This allows you to keep versions of your tools, archive. Delete, which you saw me do, and I'll do here again. Okay, now that form's gone. So that icon row appears, on top of all of the tools, and it means the same thing. And every time you click on a tool and you see this icon row, it's the same concept for each of these icons. So let's talk about the custom form. So this is an example of what I was just talking about on how to take an existing form, maybe, that you have and turn it into this web form. So this is the old version of the referral contact sheet right here. The wrong one, but it's got, columns, rows, items that you fill out. And then you've got this custom form tool, which has got columns and rows in a sense, because it's got, this question and then this answer here. But it also has this, where you can do checklists or fill in the blank or drop downs. So to build a custom form, same as the other tools, put in a name, spell it right, hit create form. Then you'll see this is what it looks like when you haven't built it yet. It's blank. So think about the structure of the form. If you're building a brand new form, like one that doesn't exist currently, you've just documented a process and you decided, well, we need a little quiz for this process, or we need a form where people capture information. A good thing to do is to take a blank piece of paper and a pencil and just sketch out the form. Just write it out. So I want to have a name, I want to have a date, I want to have this question, I want to have these options. Just sketch it out real quick on a piece of paper. And then build the custom form like this one, and just go from top to bottom and decide what tools you want to use here to build the form. So a short answer is going to be something that is answered in a sentence or less, like a name. And when I save that, and you'll see the title here is the name field, and then you have a space to fill out the name. If I want to go back and edit this, I just click on it, and then it opens for me to edit. So you can change the title, basically, and save. If you have another question being asked or a field that needs to be filled in, but it's more than just, the answer would be more than just one sentence, then that's what we call a paragraph answer. So if I click this paragraph, this is going to be the title. So something like comments, maybe. So someone would fill out their comments and hit save. And now you'll see this is longer, so I have a lot of space here, when it's completed electronically, of course, to fill in the comments of the answer. So short answer is for a sentence or less, short answer, one-word answers even, and then a paragraph is for something longer that needs to be filled out. Multiple choice is when you want to give somebody answers that they can choose. So this would be the question or the situation or what you want filled in. You put in the field label, and then these are the choices. What choices do they have? So you're defining set choices. If you want to add more choices, you hit this little plus sign and then adds more to the bottom. To delete, you just hit the minus sign and it deletes. These are also drag and drop, so you can reorder the choices. So you can put as many choices as you want just by adding the plus. When I save this, now I've got these 3 choices. Checkbox allows someone to check off multiple choices. So this would just be, the answer is only C. It's not A, B, and C. I mean, you could do a choice that said A and B if you want, But for the multiple choice, they have to choose one. If you want to give multiple options, then you hit checkbox, and then this could be the question or the information that you need. That's the label, and then these would be the choices. So use the checklist one or checkbox when you want to give someone multiple options that they can check off more than one. Save. So here, when I go and show you this in the control panel, you can check off A, B, and C if you want to. Whereas here, there's only one answer. Drop down. It can save room on your form because it shows one field, and then these are the drop-down choices. So here, this again is the question or the situation or the information, and this is choice 1, 2, 3, and then this creates a drop-down. So here, you'll see the drop-down choices. So when you've got, a big form with lots of questions and information that needs to be answered in, sometimes this is preferable to maybe the multiple choice because you can save space by, hitting this drop down. All of these are drag and drop as well. So drag them up, drag them down. Again, if you want to edit, you just click and then it opens for you to edit. So I'm going to finish talking about the remaining 3 tools here, and then we're going to go to the control panel here, and I'm going to show you this kind of form in use. Having said that, though, you still can export it here with the export arrow. So you choose print to PDF, and then you've got this in a PDF. All right. Next tool down is called a policy note. And this is what the policy template looks like. To build a policy, again, the same approach. You just click the title, put in the name of your policy. The objectives of policies can be a little tricky because you don't want to go into describing the policy. So one thing to do here is to make it short, to ensure that this doesn't happen or to be followed at all times. So the objectives can get a little creative here, but what you don't want to do is list the policy in the objective. So I hit Create Policy Note. And now this policy, you can put in the to, the from, the to. This is usually from management or from manager. You don't ever want to have the from and the to be people's names because then that's personalizing it. So it's from one position to the other. You can put in the date range, the effective, and then here's where you list the policy. This is where you put the text. You can mark it as new or revised, and then save it. So these policies document really essential rules, safety things, confidentiality, something about how you handle a certain situation that is just of the utmost of importance. So when you really need it to stand out and you really want to require employees to go and fill it out and sign off that they agree, it's of that caliber, then use the policy template. If it's just something they need to know about the process, you can always put it in the expectations of the work plan. But if you want it to stand out, you want it to be something that people really pay attention to and follow, then build a policy for it. When I'm looking at businesses' operating procedures and they're not in TouchStone, what I commonly see is like a page of just random policies, and they call it their policies or company policies. And it could be, anywhere from 10 to 50 long, I think is the longest that I've seen. What's difficult about that for employees is it's hard to draw reference to those policies. You could memorize them, but it's hard to know when they're implemented and when they need to be followed when it's just a long list. So what we do in TouchStone is we put the policy regarding the process in that process. So any policies that affect a specific process that's being performed, the policy for that should be in that process, because then it is recognizable. Then it has a frame of reference for the employee. They're learning the process, they're studying the steps, and boom, there they see the policy related to it. There are going to, one exception to that is sometimes there are, a list of employee policies that would generally be an employee handbook. Those types of policies, just general rules of employees that are employee handbook related, they should either be in the employee handbook, or you could make a list of those in your running the business HR function and then link them to everyone's job description if you choose. But generally those types of things are like employee handbook in nature and should be in the employee handbook. Policies are great for redirecting people. So I'll just say this one thing about policies and then we'll move on to video and audio. When you're having an issue in your company, so there's been an effect on the culture of the company, so it's a negative manager, a negative employee, cynicism, employees who have done things a certain way and maybe had never been corrected, so then now everybody does it that way, a negativity, and you all know what I'm talking about. It just takes one kind of person to bring a negativity to a particular department. And if that person is the manager, then it has a very long-lasting effect. So if you want to change the culture of your company and you want to stop something from happening that's been generations long, build a policy. Don't underestimate the effect of that if you manage that policy. Document the policy, send an email out to everyone, have a company meeting, show them the policy, require them to go into their control panels in TouchStone or require them to sign it, post it on the bulletin board. This is now the way that we do things. This is the way we behave. This is the way this happens. And then have managers reinforce that policy. And that's how you can affect change. Next two tools, video and audio, are generally for training purposes. So if the process lends itself to a video, so it's visual in nature, either an actual video that you can shoot with your phone even, or some kind of iPad or electronic device, or a screen capture video. So screen capture videos are just as beneficial as actual visual for visual training. So if the process is something that you can shoot an actual example of it with a video on your camera, your phone, then do that. But even if it's a administrative thing that lends itself to a screen capture video, then do that as well. So that would be where you're speaking into your computer and you're saying, do this, go here, click this. This tool called Jing that I've shown before in this training does free screen capture videos, 5 minutes free, and it's in the free version of Jing. So it looks like this. It's giving you a countdown. You're speaking voice over internet. You have to have speakers you have to have a headset, speaking into your computer. It's capturing my voice now as well as my screen movements. So I can click around the screen. I can say, click here, open this, go here, for 5 minutes. You see the countdown right there, which is great for training videos. Training videos shouldn't be long. 5 minutes is a great one. Do multiple videos, multiple 5-minute videos. But then when you're done with it, you hit finish, and then you've got this little Jing video. And you can upload this to the video tool, or you can also create a screencast out of it. So Jing will convert it, you see it happening right here, into a screencast, and then you have a link that you can make a hyperlink to. So there's that option too. But there's really no reason not to take the whole video and just upload it to TouchStone itself. So to upload a video, click the title, put in the name of the video, put in the purpose of the video. You're going to hit choose file and then find the video in the acceptable format. So MP4, which is widely used, FLV is another acceptable format for videos. If you have a video that's in a different format, there's a lot of free tools on the internet now that converts them pretty quickly to an MP4. So when I hit choose file, it's going to load the video. It usually takes about a third of the length of the video to upload it, the initial time to upload it. So if your video's, half an hour long, it could take, 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes to upload. But once it's uploaded, it lives in TouchStone like this video right here. So you have a little play button, and it'll play right inside of TouchStone. There's no more loading time after that. The only loading time has to do when you originally upload it. Up here at the top, you can replace one video with another one. That's what this one is. So if you have a current video, you shoot another version of it, then you can upload a new one right to this placeholder. You can move them around. That's the move process tool. You can download your videos from TouchStone back down to your computer. You can archive them, which is a good thing to do. So rather than replacing an old video with a new one using the upload, I think it's probably better just to archive it and then upload the new video. And then you can always go back into the archive and see it. So use these videos for training. Some people, visuals are great for training. If you can see how something's supposed to look, hear how it's supposed to sound, then that's fantastic. It doesn't replace the need for a work plan, though. A work plan is detailed, step-by-step set of instructions. You study it like a textbook. Then you can watch a visual that enhances that, which shows you it visually. If you don't have a work plan and all you have is videos, it's hard for people to learn that way, because if you've got an instructional video, what happens if they forget step 2? Well, then they have to rewind the video and watch step 2. Also, when you're speaking in a video to someone and even seeing a visual, people don't retain all that. The retention on video training, I think, is, I can't even remember, it's like less than 10%, very small. So videos don't replace the textbook, the documentation, but they certainly enhance it. They certainly make it better. Have fun with this video section. Create like welcome to the company videos. Videotape your employees working. So make this kind of new videos you can use for onboarding if you want. Make videos of yourself, talking about something important that you want to do that week or that year. If you're a manager, do that and upload it to TouchStone. The audio is the same idea, except for it's a flat MP3 file and not a video file. So you just give the file a name, hit choose file, find it, hit save, and then that audio is uploaded. The audio files upload really quickly. They're not as content heavy as the video files, so they upload pretty quickly. Good uses of the audio tool is anytime there's a script in a process, it's great to do a role play of the script. So literally have two people, one playing the customer, one playing the employee, and have them role play the script and then upload that audio file so someone can hear how it's supposed to sound. You can record actual phone calls as well and upload those to the audio tool. I was in an account a few weeks ago. It was a construction company, and they had customer service processes, and they had in their audio section, they had the way to do it and the way not to do it, like two separate audio files. This is how it sounds when you do it well, and this is how it sounds when it's not good. And that is very useful for training because people don't realize how they sound. When I listen to these trainings back, I cringe and try to learn something from every time I listen to it. But people, they don't realize how they sound. So if you can do examples of what not to do, then that really sticks with employees. So let's go here for a second. I'm just going to show you the custom form tool inside of the control panel. So let's go to that referral process. And visit here. There it is. And so here's that. There's too much in here. I mean, this is a lot. Your processes normally don't have this much. But here's just a quick example of checklists. So here I'm filling out this checklist. I can put a save as in. I save it back to TouchStone. But here's that custom form tool right here. This is the one we just made. So here's the question that would be asked, and they could choose 1, 2, or 3. This is the filling it out, one question with the answers listed. This is where you type in the name field. This is that bigger paragraph where you can type in more information. Here's the checklist where you can choose multiple answers and then save, and then it date and time stamps it and saves it back to TouchStone. So in the last 5 minutes that we have here, I just want to highlight 2 processes from our library for you. And then I'm going to show the custom form tool again, just so you can see that one more time. So these 2 processes, they kind of go together, and I think that they're kind of some of the fundamentals of good customer service. Client satisfaction is a really important thing to get your arms around, because knowing whether your clients are satisfied or not can make or break your business. There's some statistics down here that I just pulled across quick to show people on how important client satisfaction is. So this 1 through 11 kind of goes through all that you're losing by not doing customer satisfaction well. These first 4 really have to do with the cost of getting a new customer and the expense of losing an existing one. The fact that every customer complaint that you have, there are probably 26 other unhappy customers that remain silent. You'll never know why or if they were unhappy because they're never going to tell you. They're just going to move on to something else. 96% of unhappy customers don't complain. However, 91% of those will simply leave and never come back. Dissatisfied customers will tell 9 to 15 people about their experience. Around 13% of dissatisfied customers tell more than 20 people. And you know that's true just looking at your own life. It's true for me. When I have a bad experience with a business, I try to tell them because I really value that, and I value small business. But if I don't get a response that I want, I'll tell people about it. So think about, this is just to kind of bring the awareness to your mind. We're all so busy. We're all running around doing it, trying to put out fires, fix problems, and keep going. It's hard to really look back and say, how could I do it better? How could I do it better? It's hard to stop and spend the time to do that, but it's absolutely necessary if you want to move your business to the next level. Focusing on customer satisfaction can increase your sales and increase your profitability hugely. And there's some more statistics here if you want to read about it. So I have just a few ideas that come from the library around customer service. Do customer survey satisfaction calls. And there's a work plan in the library that kind of goes through step-by-steps of that. Don't just send out some random survey monkey or some survey in the mail, because you're not going to get those back. You're not going to get the amount that you need back. It's worth it to have a customer service person give people a call. That is so worth the money. And if you don't think it is, then look back at these statistics. It is imperative that you do it. Even if you hit 1 in 5 customers, have someone call them after the project's over, in the middle of it, after they just bought something. Ask them questions about how was the service. Get impact stories if they say great things about you. If they don't say great things about you, go into your client complaint process, which we'll talk about here in a second. But first I'm going to show you this form. So this is a customer satisfaction survey form that's built in this process, and this can be used in TouchStone. So the customer service person gets on the phone and they fill out this form. I'm going to show you an example of that, but first I just want to show this process. If your customers are happy, great. Get impact stories, get testimonials, thank them. If they're unhappy for any reason whatsoever, go into this process called customer complaints. Handle it as a complaint. Walk through a form like this one where they fill out what the complaint was and how to deal with it. Go all the way to the end to the investigation of that complaint, and then figure out how it happened. Make sure the customer's satisfied and happy and gets what they need, but then take it one step further and figure out what processes you need to put in place to make sure that this doesn't happen again. That's the key. It's the difference between running around and putting out fires, putting out fires, putting out fires, and then not even knowing if 2 weeks or 6 months from now those fires start burning again. So put out the fire and then put a solution in place. Put a process solution in place to make sure that doesn't happen again. This is what quality control is about, and this is what's going to increase your profitability, because every time a customer that is complaining and there are issues, it's holes in the bucket, and that money is just flowing out. You don't know how. The way to plug it up is figure out what those complaints are and put a process in place to handle it. So before I leave you here, I'm going to log in as the customer service person. So this is a employee that's logging into TouchStone right now. The customer service person, her name's Mary. This is what it looks like when she logs into TouchStone. She only has access to these positions she has access to. Ones that she doesn't are grayed out, in case you didn't realize that. You can restrict what people see and do. She goes here to her control panel, customer service. She's going to make client satisfaction calls. She chooses this. She reminds herself of what to do with the work plans. She has the script open if that's important for her. She hasn't memorized it yet. And then she goes to the form. So here, this is the customer's name, if she wants, and the save as, the date, the person calling, customer name, equipment serviced, and you can all edit this and kind of make it for your industry. Was the product returned, yes or no? Did she contact them? Yes. Who did she speak with? Did she leave a message? This is what she said. What did they say? You can ask questions. She's reading this. Would it help you by answering the following questions about your service? Were you treated courteously? Were you given what you were promised? Is there anything more you want to say? So she fills out this form and then saves it back to TouchStone. Then let's say this customer was not satisfied. Then she goes to the customer complaints process, goes through to this custom form, and fills out a complaint. This is now documented, this complaint, and it gets passed on to the person who needs to handle it and deal with it, and then ultimately a process gets put in place because of this complaint. So me as her manager, so I'm going back to this TouchStone account now. So I'm her manager. You see her down here under customer service. I can go up here to reports, and I can go to management review. And if I want to see what Mary did today or what complaints happened today, I can search for a specific client's name if that's what I'm looking for. I can put a date range in. But when I hit run report here, I'm going to see everything that she did based on what I was searching for, and I'm going down to the bottom because these were the forms are. So I see these customer complaints that she did. So these web tools or these little web forms can be powerful because they're all inside of TouchStone, and they're saved inside of TouchStone. And it kind of gives the manager this power to be able to make sure that this work is done and then go and review it. So both of those processes, customer complaints, customer satisfaction, are all inside of the library. They're not going to be perfect just as is. You want to customize them and make them your own. Make them work for you. Make it something that you can use and implement. Even if you don't want to do all this, inside of management review and the control panel, you can still print those forms out and fill them out. Or you can mimic that in some kind of other project management system that you have. But the instructions on when and how and where customer surveys are taken and customer complaints are dealt with is all inside of TouchStone.